after doing baby reindeer and wearing all those different hats, taking one of my jobs off my plate felt like the right thing to do at this point. I thought if I was going to be in it, I'd be like I'd be like a bus driver or a waiter or something. I'd do like a little cameo appearance.
In Half Man, you show us not only friends, but also brothers who are not bounded by blood, but by the experiences they share. Where did the idea came up from or from? Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I almost don't really know myself. I wrote the script about 2019, episode 1, and I then when Baby Reindeer was commissioned, so I put it on the shelf for 4 years. So I almost can't remember the actual pinpoint moment where like this idea dropped into me. I'm assuming there was a lot of discussion around men and male violence or the place of men in society back then. Either way, I just thought you take two men in the present that are broken examples of masculinity, and you flash back to their childhood and contextualize how they got to that point. And that to me felt like an interesting and arresting way of exploring a story like this. And so really it was just a creative impulse that kind of took over.
You mentioned Baby Reindeer. Half Man was announced a few weeks before this show aired and evolved into a worldwide phenomenon. Does the knowledge that everyone will be probably watching your next project maybe put you under more pressure than you had before?
Well, I'm aware that the pressure's there, and I'm aware that, a lot of people will be watching it, and a lot of people will. I'm aware that it's there. I'm aware that there's a lot of buzz and there's a lot of expectation, and I'm aware of all these things. But you can't focus too much on that. The bigger pressure is the pressure I put on myself to make the show as good as possible. So every single day I was working on this show, all I could think about was how do I make this as good as I possibly can by the end of the day, and that takes over any public pressure. I mean, now that I'm starting press and the show's coming out in less than 2 weeks, it's starting to come into my mind a little bit more. But I tell you, you can't let these things in too much, otherwise you won't be able to work properly.
You show us a story about Niall and Ruben, and this story took place over multiple decades in the end. It is a time of both dark and also hopeful moments, I would say. How did you decide which moments were the most important to show us, to get to know them better and to get to know the story behind it?
Well, I sort of, it's not like I set out at every moment to kind of get to know them better per se. I just always just try and move through the series thinking, how do I keep this story surprising? How do I keep this story evolving? How do I explore different aspects of masculinity? How do I dig deep into the knottiness of certain situations? And how do these characters change? And how can we keep surprising people at home? It's kind of more sort of focused on the storytelling, but I always felt between them that you needed moments of comedy or levity or even like warmth and love between them at times. Otherwise, it can't all just be darkness. But I just wanted to keep moving through it in surprising ways. In a lot of ways, that was the main motivation.
In terms of the decision to tell the story about this long period of time, I can only assume that it's quite difficult to find the right persons to portray them in younger versions, but also as adults. How was it to find the right actors to portray Ruben and Niall? And obviously, was the choice to play Ruben yourself always there from the beginning, or was it also something you decided along the road?
I'll take it in. Well, I'll answer the Ruben one first. It was something I decided along the road. I initially didn't want to be in Half Man. I initially, after doing baby reindeer and wearing all those different hats, taking one of my jobs off my plate felt like the right thing to do at this point. I thought if I was going to be in it, I'd be like a bus driver or a waiter or something. I'd do like a little cameo appearance. But the more the conversation evolved and the more the series evolved and the conversations around it then became that how could I be in it in a meaningful way? Not only does it help market the show and all kinds of things, but I think people really, following Baby Reindeer and the success that I had, really thought that I could bring something to it. Jamie in particular, I remember really wanted to act opposite me in it. And then I guess I thought, well, I'll strap in and see if I can do this. It was a great challenge. It was very far from what I'd done before, almost diametrically opposite. But I knew those kinds of challenges are what life is what is life is for. So I knew I had to do it in that respect.
Earlier, I talked to Stuart and Mitchell, and especially Mitchell was very excited because this show is some kind of home ground for him too. Speaking of language, because it is a dialect he spoke originally. How is it for you, also coming from Scotland and giving us or the world a story about these Scottish brothers in a Scottish also dialect?
Well, I love Scotland. I think it's a great place. It was a great place to grow up, and Glasgow's a great city. I thought that Glasgow, in particular, was an interesting part of it because it's a city which changed so much down the years. I remember when I grew up in a kind of small town in Fife, and Edinburgh was the safe city, and Glasgow was the scary city. That probably wasn't actually the case, by the way. It was just the kind of mentality that you're told when you're growing up. That Glasgow's the big city, therefore it's the scary one. But it's gone through such a change. It's incredible cultural hub now, like one of like the foremost sort of vibrant cities in the UK, verging on a world capital, just an amazing place. And it's gone through this huge change. And it's also like an LGBT hotspot now as well. So it's gone from a city that was kind of almost at the forefront of sort of danger, growing up, and it's gone through this huge change. What a backdrop, therefore, for the struggles of these two characters, these two men that cannot evolve in their own lives. They're literally in a city that's evolving faster than they are. It just felt like the right place to set it.
And I have to say, thank you for your time. Thank you for that show. And I wish you the best of luck with it. And that a lot of people have a look on Half Man.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate that. Lovely chatting. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.